live. There we go. Just going to disable a waiting room here. All right, sweet. There's a lot of people here. This is cool. Let me just flip through here and see who's here. Also, going to take a gander and see that the YouTube thing is working. Looks like it is. That's cool. Okay. One last thing I need to grab here is just the link for you all. So don't forget to do that because I know I will. Where's the thing? There it is. Okay, coming into the chat, here's the form for attendance. Remind me to do that again at some point as the night goes on so that those who get here in a few minutes also end up having the chance to do that. All right, just kind of flipping through the windows here and seeing who's here. It's great. Oh, this is cool. This is some folks that I'm not as familiar with. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Jonathan Richter. I direct the choirs here and do a whole bunch of other things. I am excited to be presenting tonight on what I decided to call great vocal ensembles, and I decided to limit myself to 10 voices. You know, just kind of focusing on ensembles that are 10 voices or less, and a cappella ensembles. So you know, right off the bat, kind of cutting out ensembles that combine with instruments. It's going to be one very, very minor exception to that tonight, but for the most part, these are groups that identify as like a cappella ensembles. You know, not with guitar, drums, you know, piano, any other accompaniment of any kind. Although I assume at times they do, but we're going to focus on the output that is a cappella, right? So just, you know, kind of mining what's capable with the voice. Kind of an opening thought that I was thinking we could open things up with tonight was let's just consider what I consider to be fact, at least, that our most flexible, adaptable acoustic instrument, the instrument that is most able to create a diversity of sounds is, in my opinion, the human voice. Right? Think of all the different sounds we can create: vowels, consonants. You know, all these extended techniques that over the years we've developed. I think it's really worth kind of thinking about what the voice is capable of. And so that was kind of my jumping off point for tonight, because I've had the pleasure of being involved with some ensembles that are really kind of outside of what I think is kind of like this pigeonhole that choral and vocal music ends up in, which is like, you know, this, you know, that everything is classical and straight laced and like this very straight ahead, by the book, by the rules kind of music making, which I think has been true for a long time, but right now, especially, those walls are really breaking down in a lot of ways because of the work of a lot of different groups, and they have been breaking down over the years. I mean, when I was in college, I was in an a cappella group, right? Maybe those of you, even some of those of you that know me pretty well, probably maybe didn't know that, but I was in an a cappella group in college. It was, you know, we were pretty good, and I was the musical director of that group for 3 years. That being involved with that group really gave me a lot of experience that I didn't really and that I wouldn't have anticipated maybe. First of all, like being the music director, I had to I was in charge of running rehearsals like 6 hours a week, and just like it got me a ton of exposure and experience with working with pretty good singers. So it really honed my rehearsal technique as an ensemble leader. Um, but it also, being collegiate a cappella, it really changed, or it really allowed me to work outside the box of, like, like, as I was saying, kind of this classical music, um, straight lace box, right? Which really isn't even, doesn't have to be a thing in my opinion anymore. But being in collegiate a cappella, basically, if you were able to accomplish the sound that you wanted, and like it worked like for an artistic reason, for a musical reason, and you weren't like breaking voices, then you're good. Like you've accomplished what you want, right? And going outside, like, oh, like if we like make this vowel like totally gnarly and weird, or like, not anything like what you would do in say classical choral music, but it did what you wanted it to do, dramatically, artistically, all the rest, then rock on. Like that totally works. And so there are a lot of vocal ensembles right now that aren't necessarily, that aren't collegiate a cappella groups. They're professional groups, a whole range of ensembles that are pushing the boundaries and have been pushing the boundaries for quite some time. Um, I'm not going to focus on collegiate a cappella tonight, just because you have a lot of exposure to that. And the fantastic groups here on campus you can go listen to, and or be a part of, as many of you are. And that's cool. It's its own thing. I didn't want to go down that road tonight. More what I was thinking was, what are the groups out there that are from a broad array of styles, but who are doing something different with vocal music, right? So there's some folk oriented stuff. There's some vocal jazz oriented stuff that I wanted to listen to. There's some early music that I wanted to listen to, like really exemplary groups there. So I just want to, this is one of those chances, and that's why I think the headphone series thing is really cool, is that we can just listen to a broad array of music and see what we like, and see how it can maybe open up our ears a little bit. So, I one other thing about this tonight, just about the styles that I want to listen to. Primarily, with only one exception, these are live performances. Okay, so this is what they do, like with just a microphone, and away they go, right? So this is not counting in, um, the whole host of things you can do in the studio, right? Like overdubbing, layering voices, layering one voice on top of another, stretching time, like editing, in a really sophisticated way. This isn't that, for most of it, and certainly no auto tune, Melodyne, that kind of thing. The most you'll hear in any recording tonight, any of these performances would just be like just kind of maxed out, or like optimized EQ. Because some groups will be performing on their own mics, and so like you'll hear basses that are really kind of boomed out with the EQ, or just in other ways kind of optimized that way. But that's pretty standard, right? But in other words, we're not incorporating a lot of the modern techniques that we have to that you hear in a lot of modern recordings, for kind of sprucing things up a little bit. Okay, so wanted to go kind of historically here, kind of chronologically, if you will, sort of, at least at the beginning. I've got an Excel spreadsheet here for you that I will eventually put. I'll try to once one of these is playing. I'll try to put this into the YouTube stream, um, so that those folks can see this. But here is a Google spreadsheet that you should be able to view. This just has all the ensemble names, pieces that I'd like to show, and then the YouTube links, and then some other random links, or I didn't really flesh that out all the way that I could have, but just a couple examples of further listening, further reading, in case you're interested in it. I like I said, I didn't really fill that in as much as I could have, but it's I could even make it editable, I guess. But okay, but that's at least what I'm thinking we could listen to. I might skip over a couple things. We'll see how time goes, because I don't want to keep you here all night, and I could when it comes to this stuff. All right, so first thing that we could listen to. Oh, sorry. Last thing I want to talk about, but like going forward here, is I really, really want this to be one of those sessions where we get feedback, or you get a chance to talk about these things. So I'd like to experiment tonight with breakout rooms. So at least once you're in a breakout room, turn on your video and try to have a quick little conversation. Like I'm talking about like little flash conversations, right? When we listen to something, I'm going to give you a leading question, and then go into a breakout room for 2 minutes, and then come right back out, and then we'll throw some ideas into the chat, maybe to just generate some conversation. But I really want to try to do that as much as possible tonight. So get ready to be listening and thinking about what you're hearing, and like I said, we'll go into breakout rooms. Now we're pushing 60 people, so go into, I don't know, 10 breakout rooms, right? Where you can have a conversation with, 5, 6 other people, and just chat over things, and then be ready to share things when you come back. Okay. So where we start is, or where I was thinking we would start, is with the fact that vocal music, and especially small ensemble vocal music, goes back hundreds of years, right? It should be said that a vast majority of what we now consider to be early music, from the medieval era, Renaissance, even into the Baroque, a vast majority of that music was intended to be performed one, max 3 on a part, right? But the vast majority of it, even just 1 on a part. When you got a motet from Victoria, for example, it's assumed that was, with the exception maybe the top line, where they might have had some boy sopranos or something, most of those parts would have been sung 1 on a part, right? So when you've got a 6-part motet, it's very likely that was originally just sung by 6 people, right? So small group singing goes way back and much earlier than large group singing. Like the idea of a choir, that's a romantic era thing, right? Like with the rise of choral societies and singing clubs and glees and catches, and like this whole society around large group singing. Like that's a thing that, that's a product of the 1800s, not the 1600s, right? 1600s was small groups, and that's kind of where we start tonight. So what I want you to listen to is this, let's call it a regional group. This is New York Polyphony, really cool recording of a work by Thomas Tallis. I think it's really cool because they are in a very reverberant space, which is related to the way it would have shown up originally, like in the cathedrals of Europe, right? And the way that they sing into a piece like this. I mean, this is a piece that is now performed by choirs, right? But how different is it when you hear it 1 on a part, right? Imagine what it could sound like with a choir, but now think of it, it's literally just going to be 4 singers in this huge space. Hear how they use that space and how it influences maybe the way you hear a piece like this. So here goes, and I apologize for kids going to bed upstairs if you hear a. Okay, let me switch this over. Okay.
Hey
How we,
JR, I don't. Oh, sorry. I'm guessing we're going to say the same thing. I don't think
yeah.
you're sending the YouTube sound out.
Really? Oh, I thought I hit it. My bad. Thank you for stopping me. I really appreciate that. I wanted I would want you to do that.
Wouldn't be a true Zoom experience without that.
Exactly, right? Let me try that again. Would you mind going upstairs back up to your room, bud?
Why?
Because I got to talk to these people.
But I can just be really quiet here.
Okay. That's cool. You want to keep listening to Polyphony? All right, I'm okay with that. So yeah, that's New York Polyphony. They're awesome, and kind of on the way up. They're not super. Well, I mean they're well known, but they're a fairly new group, and so really. Really, on top of their game in a lot of ways. So do you see what I mean about that style? If they're not using like four people on a part, right? There's just one person on a part. I think polyphony becomes a lot clearer, right? And it's just a completely different timbre than if it's a choir singing it, right? And if that's what was originally intended, then I think that's really important to listen to. I'm going to skip over one here, just in the interest of time. Tenet's awesome. Go listen to Tenet Vocal Ensemble. They're the next one on that list. But we're gonna skip them for now. They're also New York based and ton of great singers in that group. But I'd like to skip over to Voces 8. They're a very well known, especially on YouTube, ensemble. English ensemble, fantastic singers. But what I really wanted to draw your attention to here was this work from Elijah. Elijah, of course, is a piece which is an oratorio by Felix Mendelssohn in the 1840s, and huge orchestra, huge chorus. It's an enormous production. Thing lasts 2.5, 3 hours, something like that, right? Really, really involved oratorio. This comes right. It's one specific thing, I think, in the second half, and so this is a choir of angels, and it's specifically written for. The piece was actually added in to Elijah after the fact, after the whole piece was written, after the whole oratorio was written, but it's specifically calls for 8 singers, an octet, not an 8-part chorus, right? And think that it's because Mendelssohn was looking for this very specific sound, and contrasted against it's often performed with a 200 voice choir or something like that, right? And so how is this timbre different? And so this is a really neat example of, again, small group piece written amidst the context of a very, very large scale piece. So going for big contrast there. Sorry, I have it here. Here we go. Do this first.
Hey JR, do you mean to be sharing right now?
Did you just click play on YouTube and forget that we exist for a minute?
You forgot to
It's all totally fair.
Oh my gosh, I am failing tonight.
Okay.
I am so sorry. I'm like, I hear people talking.
Days.
It is one of those days.
It really
Um,
is.
oh my goodness. I'm sorry.
It's fine. It's fine. We'll just
I'm
pretend the last like minute and a half never happened. It's not like
I
it's
am
recorded or
I was
anything. It's
so
fine.
enjoying that. Oh,
It
just
looks like
you
it.
just you wait. I was like, why can't I see anybody? Anyway, I'm sorry. I'll get my act together. Are you ready? Here goes. Okay. So that is Voces 8. They're awesome. Uh, Drop dead intonation. Just you know, you can go check out a bunch of their recordings on YouTube. A lot of them are fairly well processed. That recording to me says, okay, they're legit. They're the real deal. They're not sprucing things up too much. They're just good. Um, so yeah, and it's just a beautiful piece. That spot in that oratorio is really just stunning. Everybody says they like your hat. See, I like his hat. Okay, so so that's like some traditional stuff, right? This is like the history behind a lot of this choral singing. But now let's go to something a little bit more modern. This is still kind of within classical realm, though they're definitely breaking the molds here, right? So we're going to go next to the Lorelei Ensemble. They've actually been based in the Boston, in and around Cambridge. So this is an ensemble of all of 9 women, led by a friend of mine, Beth Willer. We both did our doctorates at BU, and Beth is awesome. Do you want to listen to this, buddy? And you can all still hear me, correct? I just unplugged my headphones. Lorelei Ensemble is fantastic. They focus on, one of their focuses is getting, especially women composers, more exposure and performing works by female composers. And hang on, we're gonna listen to something. So here goes. And so this is a work by David Lang. Maybe a more famous work by him at this point would be the Little Match Girl Passion, really well known and well respected choral work. But this is stuff that's been written within the last 10 years, so very new, very cool. And this one they've collaborated with dancers as well, so there's a visual element to check out here. Okay. Sorry. Double checking that I'm not messing anything up again. Here we go.
What?
Just a minute.
Soon almost every subject they might want to talk about is associated with yet another unpleasant scene, and becomes a subject they can talk about, so that as time goes by, there is less and less they can safely talk about, and eventually little else but the news. And what they're reading, all of what they're reading. They can talk about certain members of her family, his working hours, her working hours, rabbits, mice, dogs, certain foods, certain universities, hot weather, hot and cold room temperatures at night, and in the day, lights on and lights off, in the evening, in summer, the piano, music in general, how much money he earns, what she spends, etc. But one day after they have been talking about a forbidden subject, though not the most dangerous of the forbidden subjects, she realizes it may be possible sometimes to say something calm and careful about a forbidden subject, so that it may once again become a subject that can be talked about, and then to say something calm and careful about another forbidden subject, so that there will be another subject that can be talked about once again, and that as more subjects can be talked about once again, there will be gradually more talk between them, and that as there is more talk there will be more trust, and that where there is enough trust, they may dare to approach even the most dangerous of the forbidden subjects.
Okay. Interesting, right? The title of that being Forbidden Subjects, right? And which I obviously heard a number of times, but it's, I don't know, very, very, we're now getting into, this modern style of music and a modern style of composition, modern style of performance that really, from here on out, it should really be making us think like, what is going on here, right? And that is really what I'd like to spend the rest of the time with. Just what does this make me think, right? Yes, buddy.
Say goodnight.
Yeah, I need to say goodnight to you, buddy. Okay?
Why?
Yeah, because I need to hang out with these folks. Okay? Yeah.
I
Can
just
you go
want
mom,
to show
please?
you something.
I'm sorry, I can't see it right now. I'm sorry, I can't. But I'll get you later. Remember, I'm going to come check on you, right? Yeah. Okay. Sorry, everybody.
But just show that.
Okay, so next up, and after this one, I would like to have one of those quick breakout rooms, a flash breakout room. So Lorelei Ensemble, they're definitely very forward thinking, and please go check them out more because they're awesome and performing in this area very frequently. Next up, though, a group that has gained a lot of national recognition is Roomful of Teeth. Okay, and after maybe we talk about both if you'd like. Talk about the Lorelei Ensemble performance just now, and then Roomful of Teeth. Roomful of Teeth is they started I don't know, maybe 10 years maybe 15 years ago, and they've since won a Grammy. Caroline Shaw has composed a number of things for them, and she's a member of the group. I have professional acquaintances with a number of the members of the group, and they're just really, so their stated mission, I copied this out. What did they say? Their stated mission is they are a vocal band dedicated to reimagining the expressive potential of the human voice. Okay, so their conscious effort is to just broaden vocal sound, right? And so by doing that, they're just, in a lot of their pieces, you will not hear words. You will hear nonsense syllables, extended techniques, all kinds of things to really broaden the palette of vocal music. So as I say, so if you need a leading question, what does this make you think, right? What are these? Where do these pieces send your mind? And you can compile some answers and throw them into the chat once we do those breakout rooms. But have that on your mind as you're listening. What does this make you think? Where does your brain go when you listen to this? So, Roomful of Teeth. And this piece, sorry, is the Partita for 8 Voices by Caroline Shaw. This is the piece that they won a Grammy with, and this is the third movement. Let me just double check and make sure I've got the right timestamp on this. Yeah, okay, good. All right. So that's from Full of Teeth. I'm going to throw you right into breakout rooms. Where's your brain go? And be ready to throw at least, pick, if you would pick one leader from, one person from each room to throw something, at least like one or two things into the chat. So here come, let's call it 8 breakout rooms. 9. And actually, I'm going to keep, I'm going to see if I can keep one room in here, just to hear what the conversation is having though. So here goes. Breakout rooms, it'll be literally 2 minutes or less. So this, one group of people that will not, that'll just stay here, if that's okay, in the main session.
So is this the main set?
This is the main room. Yes. So, have at it. Who's going to be your leader?
Mm.
Emily, was that you
Yes.
that groaned? You're the leader.
Okay.
Just kidding. You don't have to be if you don't want to be. But, okay, everybody. Where'd your brain go?
Well, what I can say I liked about it, we did in freshman course once. I forgot the tune's name, but we were using vowel sounds instead of regular words. So I liked the pronunciations instead of regular words. It was just like using all different types of vowels, and that's very unique to me, and that's what caught my eye attention.
Yeah. Very unique use of vowels, for sure. What else?
I thought it was cool how they incorporated like the different sounds into it.
Like which ones caught your ear?
There was one that was kind of like ch or something similar to that, and I think it might have been like the second person in, and then the person on the end was making like I don't remember exactly what it was, but it was more of a steady beat. So like those two together were kind of like like it was kind of cool combined.
Yeah, there was a bit of a boom chick thing going there.
It reminded me of like a very acapella thing. So I was like acapella group in high school, and it just reminded me of some of the stuff that we would do occasionally depending on the piece.
Yeah.
Someone said it in the chat, but I kind of want to reiterate it. Their communication was absolutely impeccable. There was not one moment where they were out of line with each other or anything like that. They were always together, and like no matter what changed, no matter what was going on, they always had it on lock.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, well, imagine how complex that score must be, right? It's just like it must be a crazy looking score.
That looks like a headache.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'm gonna close this up. I said it would be short, so here goes. But Emily, would you mind throwing some of that into the chat?
Will do.
Marvelous, thank you. All right, so anybody that's got anything, any reflections or anything like that, throw them into the chat. So one that already went in, their communication is impeccable. I completely agree, and that came up in our room also. Just the communication across the group, just really fantastic. And my reaction to that is, imagine what that score must look like, you know, and they're like out of their score, like looking around the ensemble. Yeah, they performed it a lot by now, but still. Yeah, Caroline Shaw is awesome. And just writing a ton right now. But if you're curious, Caroline Shaw was she had the black and white striped shirt on, third in from the left. She's a rock star. Full teeth performance reminded me of throat singing, except it kept going for forever. Right? In the main group we discussed that the song had vowels, sounds, communication was on point, good and aligned. Score must have been long and complicated. Right, Inuit throat singing. Yeah, at times they reference that. They say that they have taken that on in a way in this piece. I think there's a conversation to be had about that. But it is, you know, it's certainly one of those extended techniques. Yeah, cool. All right, let's keep rolling. Again, I like the idea of jumping out and doing these little Flash Talks. Okay, now something completely different, right? The ones from here on out kind of have a more popular flair and are perhaps more popularly known. The first one in this section that we could talk about, Sweet Honey in the Rock. I mean, I don't know how many of us are familiar with them. They were more active maybe in the 90s and 2000s, but really just amazing group. They've varied in size from about like 4 to 7, I think. They are an African American all women ensemble, you know, kind of rooted in folk song and in spirituals, but definitely taken in its own ways. So this one is Ella's song. I would say listen for layering in this piece. Listen for all the different textures that they're able to achieve. Again, very, very different style, but really, you know, another way of capturing what can be done with 5 voices. So here goes, Sweet Honey in the Rock.
We can't. There's nothing. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why I had the share going. It probably came up for a second and then it just stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird. I don't know why. I've never seen that happen, but oh well. Let's try that again. I'll just keep it here just to be safe.
We'll believe in freedom cannot rest. You believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. We'll believe in freedom cannot rest. Hear me talking to you. We'll believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Until the killing of black men, black mother sons, is as important as the killing of white men, white mother sons. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. Sing it with me if you like it. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. The older I get, the better I know that the secret of my going on is when the reins are in the hands of the young who dare to run against the storm. 'Cause to me, young people come first. They have the courage where we fail. And if I can but shed some light, I say, carry us through the gales. We who believe in freedom cannot rest. Hear me talking to ya. We who believe in freedom cannot rest until it comes. Then struggling myself don't mean a whole lot. I've come to realize that teaching others to stand up and fight is the only way my struggle survives. I'm a woman who speaks in a voice, and I must be heard. At times I can be quite difficult about no man's word. We believe in freedom and not rest. Hear me talk will believe in freedom and not arrest. Oh, we will believe in freedom and not arrest.
Love it. They're too cool. I could listen to Sweet Honey the Rock like all day long and be totally happy. Yeah, mission driven, the whole thing. Some of you might have sung, if you've been in choirs in the past, maybe you sung something by Yesaya Barnwell, and she's one of the founding members of Sweet Honey the Rock. So, all right. Is it safe to assume that a lot of us know the Waylon Jennys? If you don't, go check them out. Our family is like totally jamming the Waylon Jennys lately. That Storm coming, they commonly perform with, like bluegrass band basically, of varying sizes. Like they have a cover of Tom Petty's Wildflowers out. It's really fantastic, just great harmonies. This is an a cappella piece, Storm Coming. Go check it out on your own time. I'd like to skip over it for now, but it's really neat. And if you're not familiar with the Waylon Jennys, definitely go check them out. But I'd like to move forward to Bob McFerrin, and then you say, wait, that's not an ensemble. But except that Bobby McFerrin, if we're talking about like expanding the capability of the human voice, Bobby McFerrin is an ensemble. I don't know how familiar many of us are. Of course, he's most famous for that song. Don't worry, be happy. There it is. Most famous for that. But really has made most of his career actually on like bringing people together, improvising, and also just having this incredibly virtuosic voice, like extremely sub bass pitches that he can hit all the way up through soprano pitches, and he's still doing it. And I don't know even how old he is at this point, but he's been at this for decades, like many decades. I mean, Don't Worry Be Happy came out in the 80s, I'm pretty sure. So I mean, this is somebody who's really fantastic. Anyway, yes, he's not an ensemble technically, and if you count the ensemble that he uses in this recording, you're actually talking about I don't know, a couple thousand people or something. So this is him at an arena, and he gets the whole arena singing. But what he does around it is just really fantastic. So I'm like, if we're talking about expanding the voice, have to include some Bob McFerrin. I'm going to actually start about halfway through in the interest of time, because he starts off, he kind of builds up to it, but we can start somewhere around here, and you'll get a flavor of it. So here goes. All right, so nope, sorry, Waylon Jennings, you don't get to go. I love you. So Bob McFerrin, obviously, well renowned, and you hear that wide range in that clip, right, where he's like way down, like way down to the bottom and flying up top with in the soprano range. It's just incredible. So the question is, so this is another like minute and a half in a breakout session, and it'll be even shorter than the last one. What influences did you hear in that piece? Did you did you hear another style of music in that one? Right? Think back. You can open it up on your own for a second if you'd like, but did you hear another style of music in that recording? Okay. Stopping share, breakout rooms, same deal as before. I'm going to recreate, and room 1, stay with me. Delete room. Okay. Real short. What influences did you hear? All right. Hi, wonderful people.
Hello.
What'd you hear?
Tetrachords, kind of.
Tetrachords. Yeah.
I don't know what other styles I heard, but I really liked it.
Okay. Did you hear like techno?
No.
No. Those open intervals remind me of like early music.
Yeah.
Is that like the open fifth like that?
Okay. Cool.
Like very early chants. Like you wouldn't,
like lots of chanting.
You wouldn't typically open with a jump, like a leap like that.
Yeah, definitely a lot of similarities to chant, I think.
Huh. Interesting. Oh, that's so interesting. Because like I wasn't necessarily kidding about techno. It's like just like the groove. Like it's just like
Yeah, it's much
so
more grooving
driven.
than chant. Chant does not groove like that.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
I'm thinking solely like pitch relation.
Technicality wise.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna close the rooms. But no, I totally hear that. That's I want to see if anybody heard like Indian ragas or anything like that.
Oh, maybe.
Because he's a musician that he's so creative. He just takes it all in great ways. For a long time, he was behind this thing called Voicestro, and that was a touring act for a long time. That had like 15 people, so I didn't include it in this, but it was really cool. And he's had a lot of different iterations of that. Okay, 12 seconds. Okay. All right, everybody's back, I believe. Okay, throw some stuff in the chat. What did you hear? What influences did you hear? Some folks in my room said, "Oh, big shape note energy. Interesting." Middle Eastern sounding intervals. See, okay, by Middle Eastern, Arturo, I assume you're talking about. That's what I hear. I hear some like Indian, raga style, scales, cool embellishments. Oh, the inhale exhale singing, where he's like making a pitch on the inhale. I can't even do it all that well, but he can do that. He's singing outwards, and then he like throws in one pitch just by inhaling. It's crazy. Just a very, very unconventional but very, very capable vocalist. Okay, I don't know if folks are writing more in there, lung extensions or something. I'm not convinced that this isn't 3 people in trench coats that are alternating parts. Oh, that might have been the last one. I'm not sure, but
no, it was this one.
That was this one. Okay. Singing from the group. I don't even know that tradition, but I would be very interested to hear. Okay. I'll keep an eye on that, see if any others come in there. But that's really cool. Last 2. The Real Group and Take 6. These are the 2 that are kind of vocal jazz. Yeah, well, not kind of. They are very vocal jazz influence. Certainly Real Group more than Take 6. Take 6 is a gospel group. These are 2 just fantastic, like just total wow factor kind of vocal jazz ensembles. But the Real Group is a Swedish group, active since the 90s or so. And this is them in Stockholm, live performance. This is them performing It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing. Okay, and just lights out, good arranging, and like dead on intonation, just incredibly capable vocalists, and knowledgeable, and they just work as a perfect unit. So check this out. I love this track.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that. What good is melody?
What good is music
if it ain't possessing something sweet?
ain't the melody.
It ain't the music, no.
There's something else
That makes the tune complete. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got swing. Wow, 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 wow. It don't mean a thing, all you got to sing. Wow, 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 wow. It doesn't matter if it's sweet or doesn't really matter. Just give that rhythm everything you got it all. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
Don't mean a thing, don't mean a thing, don't mean a thing, don't mean a thing.
You've got to sing all you've got to do to make it. You've got to sing all you've got to do to make it. You've got to sing all you've got to do to make it. You've got to sing all you've got to do to make it. You've got to sing all you've got. You know it don't mean a thing. You've got to sing all you've got. If it ain't
It doesn't matter if it's sweet or hard. No, just give that rhythm everything you've given, everything you got.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
Wah, 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 wow.
It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing.
Oh, stop it. It's too good. That just like kills me. I could listen to that forever and be a perfectly happy person. And by the way, that's one. So that whole concert, I put the whole concert in that spreadsheet. The whole concert is that good. It's just like that's just one tune from that whole live in Stockholm. They actually used not that concert but another concert live in Stockholm as just a live album. It's probably their most famous album, and it's just cover to cover, just amazing. Their When I Fall in Love will just break your heart, and they do like legit big band charts basically. They are, yeah, they're ridiculous. I love them. They have gone into a different realm lately. They kind of went a little bit more electronic. And I did get the chance to hear them once, and most of their concert was like this kind of electronic and a lot of effects and stuff. I expected to hear that, but it was still really cool, but definitely different. They've gone in some different directions recently. And so that's actually, you'll hear some of that if you follow one of those other links on the spreadsheet. Anyway, last one I wanted to go with today was a group that I've been listening literally since I was a kid. My parents had Take Six, So Cool, which was like probably their most famous album. Take Six is a gospel group, but they have this really heavy, one foot heavily leaning into vocal jazz. So you'll hear, they're a Christian group, and so it has religious overtones. But as you'll hear, I mean, you're talking about extended harmonies, that similar kind of like really round bass sound on the bottom. 6 singers, and they formed in Oakwood University, which is a historically black college, and they have been singing ever since. They've been together for. We want to hear something remarkable about them. They're Take Six. There are 6 members. They're over their first album came out in like 81 or something, 1981. So you're talking they're going on 20. They're going on 40 years. They've only had 8 members of the group, right? 4 of the members are original members from the early 80s. I mean, it's remarkable. And if you hear them live, I heard them live about 15 years ago, and I just sat there. It was at the Blue Note Cafe in New York, and I just sat there with my jaw dropped the entire time. It was probably, top 3 concert I've ever been to. I could not believe it. It just changed what I thought was even possible with voices. They're ridiculous. So this is a 1990 recording of them live in Munich. The song is "If We Ever Needed the Lord Before, We Sure Do Need Him Now." Check it out. Fantastic stuff. Nope. Hang on. I almost did it again. Almost. I did it. It did the same thing again. That's so weird. Okay, here goes. All right, so that's Take Six. They obviously, I mean, you could look up a whole ton of tracks of them. That's probably one of their more famous works. But again, I've been listening to them my whole life, and it makes me feel like I'm about 10 years old again. Anyway, so I want to do one last breakout room session real quick, because I want to know what your I want the group to poll within the group and decide on who. What's the way to say this? Well, okay. So amongst your group, talk about it, and then if you don't agree on one, it's fine. But what piece that you heard tonight did you find just completely surprising and or moving, right? Which one kind of blew you away, right? Because we heard a lot of different things tonight, and put in really as many as you want. But here's a quick breakout room, and you can. We're just recreating rooms here. All right. I just want to hear what was the one that got you. Okay, here goes. Bobby McFerrin. Nice. I'm happy to see that. Room full of teeth. Yeah. I expected that one to have a lot of wow factor. Bobby McFerrin, that track is one that I found that this summer when my son had heard about the song that he's most famous for, that I couldn't remember the earlier either. But he was like, "Who is that singing?" And I wanted to show him some Bobby McFerrin. So we sat in the car listening to that through the car stereo, and he listened through the whole 7 minutes just like like completely stunned. That was the Bobby McFerrin. He loved that.
Don't worry, be happy.
Yeah, Don't Worry, Be Happy is the one that I can never think of. Sweet Honey in the Rock. I love them. They just they're just right. Yeah, I'm glad. Yeah, Sweet Honey in the Rock was a late addition. I'm glad I thought to throw that in. Anyway, from Full of Teeth. It is like scratching your brain. I like that. That's a great way of putting it. Anyway, I don't want to. I know it's getting late, or at least it is for me. And I hope this was informative. If anybody wants to hang around and talk about any of these things or get any extra resources, then feel free to hang around. If anybody needs the form, the attendance form, I will throw that in the chat right now because I did end up forgetting to do it. Anyway, here goes. And there goes. Hope you all have a fantastic night. I'll see many of you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dr. Richter.
Thank you. Hope you're doing well.
You too. Good to see you.